Hi guys, welcome back. This is Mark and this is my 7th tutorial on WPF and Model View Model. What we're going to do now is we created our relay command class, so we have our ICommand members, we have the constructors, we have the fields. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement this. So let's go to our city view model and let's go ahead and we're going to create a new region in here. So we're going to create our region of ICommand members. And I'm going to copy and paste this. I've explained this before why I do this. I just do it so that I know when I'm at the end of what region, just for clarification. So now what we're going to do is it's basically going to be a property, but it's going to be an ICommand member property. So, it does the same thing, it's just a little bit different. So we're going to say private, and we're going to say ICommand, and we're going to say underscore generate city command, and then we're going to have public ICommand, and then we're going to do generate. And you see it has the same setup as a property. So basically we're implementing the ICommand class. We're giving it a private field that we're going to go ahead and use in our public field of the property. So we're going to have a getter. So we're going to say get, and we're going to say if generate city command is equal to null, we're going to go ahead and execute, creating a new relay command. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pass param. This is a lambda expression. I'm not going to go in detail of lambda expressions, but basically the equal greater than that basically goes to, so parameter goes to our generate city. I'm going to put an underscore command execute. So basically all this is the name of a method, and we're going to pass a param into the method. So basically we created a new relay command which is going to implement our relay command class. We're passing a parameter which is going to the generate city command execute, and we're passing that parameter in there. So in generate city command execute, that is our name of our method. So we can go ahead and copy that. So Control C, that way we don't have to retype it out. Now we can set it also. So this can have a setter. Not that we're not even going to use it or implement it, so I'm not even going to go on about it, but you know what setters do. They set the value of it. I've never used the setter in the ICommand that I can remember at this point. I might down the road, but this could just have a getter. But we'll put them both in just for giggles. So now we've implemented our ICommand, so we're good to go. So now we need to create the method that's going to generate our city. So when we click on the button in our view model, or button in our view, we want to go ahead and execute this generate city command. So we're going to come in here, but we don't have our method yet, so let's create our method region. So go ahead and collapse that. Let's go ahead and create our region, and we can just call it methods. Because I like capitals today. So alright, now we're going to have our methods. So let's go ahead and we're going to create our generate city command execute method. So we want to go ahead and public void, then let's go ahead and paste that in there. Now we're going to have an object as the parameter, and basically what the that will do is by passing object like we did in the relay command, it's very generic, so we can pass whatever we want. So that is our method. So if you go ahead and expand the ICommand, oh, yeah, you can see I skipped one little crucial spot right here. So what we want to do is we're going to want to return the generate city command. So as you can see, you can make bugs pop up in your programs real easy by just missing stuff. Yeah, so in the getter, we want to go ahead and return our generate city command. So now that we've resolved that, we can go on to bigger and better things. So in our public void generate city command execute, we're going to want to fire a bunch of stuff. We're going to want to go ahead and generate our city. So how are we going to do that? Well, there's a couple different things we can do. We could go ahead and build our city in a list and go ahead and execute from there, but what about a database? And what's good for a database would be, using a resource. Remember I told you in the beginning we're going to use this resources folder. So what we want to do is let's go ahead and create a new, let's go ahead and add a new item, and let's go ahead and add XML. So an XML file. And let's name this XML file cities. So we'll add. So now we have our cities file, which has nothing in it, of course, but we're going to add all that. And what we want to do with our city, so we're on cities, let's look at our properties with it. And let me move this over so you guys can see. I'm not going to dock this or anything. But basically what we want to do is change it from a resource to none, and then make sure it's do not copy. So we should be good to go there. So I've just moved that back out of the way. So under build action, well, none and do not copy. But what we're going to do is we want to go and double click on properties, go to resources, go ahead and change it to files, and drag cities over. So now it's been added as a resource. So what we're doing is we don't want to copy it, we don't want any build action with it, we don't want to copy it because it's a resource, it's an embedded resource. So we can go ahead and just save that and close it, and this will make it easier in our method, as you'll see in a minute. So now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create our cities. So what we're going to do is go ahead in here and so we're going to say cities, open closing tag, and then we're going to say city. Now we'll say ID, and we'll say 1, and we'll go ahead and create a name for our city, and we'll say now this is just random stuff that I've created, population, these are all the elements of our city. So we say 133. What type is it? This is actually a village, so there's a village, and then we're gonna have wealth. So how wealthy is the city? We'll say it's a low wealth city. And then let's go ahead and go to the next line. We'll give it a history. Now you can do whatever you want here, like a small pig farming village, or say a community. That was founded 300 years ago. Alright, so now let's go ahead and we're going to close the city element. So here's our city element, and then it has all these attributes. So what I have is I have a couple more that I've created, and I'm just going to copy and paste those just to save us time, because this video will get long otherwise. There we go. So here's all my other stuff. So you can see city ID 1, 2, 3. So I've copied all that. You can copy this. You can create your own city, as long as you have those, attributes in that city element. You'll be good to go. And you could have 500 cities in here, as long as you set up and plan for it in our city view model, which I'll show you here next. You'll be able to generate whatever you want. So now we'll go back to our city view model. Now you'll see we have this method. So what we want to, let's go ahead and create another method, because this method is going to go ahead and create a random number for us. So let's do private void, so it's private to this class. We don't want to call it from anywhere else. We'll say generate random city. No parameters. We're not returning, it's a void. So, and then what we want to say is random. Random, this is going to be the random number that it generates to pick this city, equals new random. And what we want to do is we want to seed our random number generator so it doesn't get the same values every time. Because if you don't seed it, you could end up with the same value. So what I'm going to pass in to seed our random number is a datetime dot now dot milliseconds. So every millisecond, we're seeding that random number generator. So if we were to click it multiple times, it's going to have a different seed value. So it's going to be a very random number for us. Now there's other ways to do this. There's like more complicated if you want like a true random number. But for what we're doing, this works fine. This will work fine for, 7 out of the 10 things we're doing. No one's ever really going to know. It works perfect. It's the proper way to do it. And what we want to say is random city and we want random city equals, that's the wrong random city. Thought we had this in our properties. See, city ID, city name, city population, wealth, history. We must probably have to add it. Yeah. So we're gonna have to. Oh, it's not even a property. So we're gonna have a private field here, and it's not added up here. I thought we did add it. Oh, it is right here, random city. Okay, it is there. All right, so we did add it. Random city equals, and then we're going to basically assign it the random number or generate our random number. Now, because we have 3 cities, we're going to generate a number between 1 and 3. So to do that, we're going to say random dot next, and so we want between 1 and say 4, and that's 3 numbers. Basically, if it rolls a 0, it's going to be a 1, because in computer language we start counting at 0. Of course, we all know that. So if we want 3, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 is actually number 4. So we're going to do a random number between 1 and 3. So now let's go ahead and we're going to set up our method. So in our method, first we're going to call generate random city. because we want to get our random. Let's see, generate random city. There we go. So that's going to go ahead and create our random number for us. And then we're going to go ahead and we actually have to set up our XML. It's already in there as a resource, but we have to go ahead and point to it. We want to look at it. We want to be able to assign it to where we need it. So let's go ahead and start laying this out. So we're going to have a random variable here, and that's going to be a city ID, and that's going to equal random city, well, the random city dot toString. And the reason why it has to be toString is because it is in our XML file. So, you know, basically we want it in string format so we can compare it. And so we don't have to load the XML document. We just need to parse it because the XML is a resource. If it wasn't a resource, we would have to go ahead and load it first. But seeing that it's not a resource, that it is a resource, we don't have to load it. We just need to parse it. So we want to say X document. Now what we're going to do is resolve this because it's in the system XML link library. So we're going to use X document. So we're going to say X doc, or dic as I put there, but we want doc equals, say X document. We use IntelliSense here to make it go quicker. Dot parse, and basically it's a property, so we're going to say properties. Properties dot resources dot cities. So that makes it easier. We can just go ahead and load it and parse it. We don't need to load it, so we're just parsing it right away. So now what we want to do is we're going to make sure that we use I enumerable so we can loop through the contents of it. So there's our enumerable, and then basically we're going to have X element. Go ahead, and then basically we're going to say city equals from, say, row in xdoc dot descendants. This is all part of link, so if you don't understand this, look up link, and you know, you guys should be used to from and link expressions a little bit. So we're going to say city, so just Google that if you need to. Now we're going to say where, and this is where we're going to string, so we're casting row dot attribute, say ID, let's look at cities, make sure we're matching ID. Okay, yeah, we are. So ID is equal to city ID. Now we want to select that row. So basically, this doesn't execute the query. We just built our query. That's all it is. We're just going to query it. We're going to execute our query is in our for each, which is going to come up right away here. So let's go ahead and first we got to finish building it. So we're going to have an integer called max ID, you know, which is going to equal xdoc dot descendants dot, well, no dot there, but city, need that in there, dot max, and here we're going to use, it's going to be a lambda expression, so we're going to say x equals greater than, and we're going to cast int x dot attribute, and the attribute we're going to say is ID. So basically we're saying we're creating a local variable for the max ID, you know, because we don't want to be, you know, outside, we want to be able to check it. So now we can go ahead and we can do our if and then execute our query. So we're going to say if, you know, we're going to convert to, say, int 32, then this is going to be city. It's going to be the lowercase. Actually, it's not even going to be a string. It's going to be actually our city ID. And basically we're going to say is less than or equal to max ID. So as long as, you know, we're going to convert city ID to an integer. So basically that's going to give us a number, and as long as it's less than or equal to the maximum ID, so between 1 and 3, we're going to go ahead and execute this. And so we're going to do our for each, and this for each is actually where the query gets executed. So it's x element, we say LE in city. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do it. So city, this is going to be uppercase city ID, which I could probably name those better at this point, but you know, this is probably going to be the last video of this tutorial, but we should be good to go here. So LE attribute, so we're going to say ID, and that's going to be dot value. And so basically we're going to just assign everything. So city name equals LE dot attribute. As you see, it's going to be another string, and this will be the name. That's going to be dot value. So, and it's going to keep going. Population, type, wealth, and history. So we're going to say city population equals, as you can see, attribute. And as you can see, the string is everything that's in our document, you know, our city's XML document. So basically we're just looking at all that data. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the rest of these that I already have set up over here, just to save some time. So you see I did the type with the attribute for the type, city, the wealth, and the history. So now that's all set. Our method is all set. Everything's ready to go. We can go ahead and generate our random city. But it won't generate yet because we haven't wired it to our view. And this is like the easiest part of this whole thing. So now we're going to go to our view. Let's go ahead and find our button. So here's our button. And our button has a content of Gen City. So what we can go ahead and do is I'm just going to go next row. We're going to create a command. And in that command, we're going to have a binding. So we did this earlier. And then it's just going to be generate city command. Now if you remember, generate city command was here in our city view model. So if we open up our ICommand, remember, generate city command. Now we could have copied it and just pasted it over, but I just wanted to do it to show you. So now if we go ahead and let's go ahead and run this. Now if we click generate city, What's it doing here? Why is it? Let's figure this out. I'm gonna pause the video. Hold on 1 second, guys. Alright, I'm back. Let me show you what I did here. We want can execute. We want execute here, not can execute. So this is my fault. This is why it didn't run. So I was using IntelliSense. This is where you still, even though you're using IntelliSense, you have to make sure that you're putting all the proper data in there. So execute parameter. So now if we go ahead and run this, now we're generating a random city. So there's city number 1, number 3. We can generate as many random cities as we want. So that's it. That's all the tutorials that I have for you. I hope it all makes sense. I know this video is a little bit long, but it covers a lot. Any questions, go ahead and email me, message me, post a comment. I'll answer what I can, but you can do a lot of stuff with this. Sky's the limit. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next tutorial series. Have a good one. Thanks.